Good evening. My name is Ray Post. I've been a resident of Bucks County now for 35 years, and I spend much of my leisure time enjoying the county and state parks, which make this community of ours really such a great place to live. I'm often found kayaking in Lake Luxembourg, as well as Galena and Nockamixon, Delaware River. I hike along the Neshaminy at Tyler, often with my granddaughter walking around playing at Cork Creek Park. So these are our community's cherished shared resources that I ask you tonight to respect and also to protect. Many of you may know that most, if not many, if not most, lakes and streams suffer a slow death by the accumulation of algae mats and weeds. This is a process called eutrophication. It's driven by nutrients that enter the water column as well as a little bit of silt. Lake Luxembourg has for many, many years been considered by the environmental officials to be impaired with respect to having too much phosphorus as well as too much suspended solids. This problem has been addressed by a literally decades-long program by the Bucks County Conservation District in conjunction with Princeton Hydro, one of the premier rehabilitation firms, at least on the East Coast. A couple of years ago, I attended a joint presentation of the County Conservation District and Princeton Hydro, and they outlined at least 30 projects to improve this impaired condition and reduce the amount of phosphorus and nutrients entering the system. These included improved catch basins in many of our communities, probably Newtown as well, certainly Middletown, as well as stream bank stabilization, vegetative buffers, and of course the biggie, as you probably know, we partially drained Lake Luxembourg and we dredged out the northern part of that lake, the so-called conservation part, and we replanted that with special vegetation designed to trap suspended solids and silt coming in there, as well as metabolize and eliminate much of the phosphorus and nitrogen that was entering the lake and the northern end there. As a result of all of those decades of effort, and there's more effort continuing, and what's been estimated as being approximately $2 million worth of taxpayer money, mostly through grants, the results of that effort, which is still ongoing, has been to reduce the amount of phosphorus entering that lake by almost 2,000 pounds, reduced by almost 2,000 pounds, which is really significant. 2,000 pounds per year, I should say, reduced by 2,000 pounds per year. So now speaking to you as a professional engineer with 49 years of experience in water treatment, what exactly might we anticipate from a 2.5 million gallon wastewater treatment plant discharging its effluent almost directly into this lake that we've been working so hard to rehabilitate? Well, let me tell you on the back of an envelope what that looks like. Let's take 2.5 million gallons. We know a gallon weighs a little more than 8 pounds, right? 2.5 times 8, that's 20 million pounds of water effluent per day entering that lake. Say there's 350 days in a year, and so we're going to call 20 times 350, 7,000 million pounds per year of effluent entering the lake. Simple enough. So now, most of us know commonly that wastewater sewage contains a lot of phosphorus and nitrogen. We use it for fertilizer. So these wastewater treatment plants do a really good job of removing most of that phosphorus and nitrogen, but still quite a bit gets through. How much might get through? Well, there's a preliminary design document for the Wolcott plant, which has been used as a discussion, the Aquin Array or whatever, indicated that under their basic nutrient removal program, we would have 1 part per million of phosphorus in the effluent. So 1 part per million times 7,000 is 7,000 pounds per year of phosphorus that we can expect to enter that lake. Now, we've always spent a couple of decades and a couple of $1 million of taxpayer money, involved several organizations, professional groups, to take out almost 2,000 pounds. So now we're going to add 7,000 pounds. We're going to erase all of that effort times 3. That's not very good. Now, one was checked recently with the Wolcott plant, and they're not actually meeting their 1 ppm. They're running about 1.3, so it's a little higher, but let's keep the numbers simple and say 1. Now, a sewage treatment plant with all the bells and whistles and everything on it, we'd be talking another digester stage, 2 stages of methanol injection, alum addition, a lot of chemistry being added here, tertiary filtration. You should be able to get under 1 ppm. The design documents suggest maybe 0.3, but that would be hard to do. But even if it was what they call the limit of technology, that would still be 0.3 parts per million times 7,000 pounds. You're still putting 2,000 pounds of phosphorus in there per year. That's completely destroying everything that's been trying to accomplish there. But there's more. Nitrogen. We know that waste sewage contains nitrogen. We use it as a fertilizer. What might we expect from nitrogen loadings to be? Well, you can check the preliminary design documents, and you'll see that they're exactly 10 times the phosphorus. So go ahead and do the numbers. 7,000 million pounds a year times 10 parts per million of nitrogen. That's 70,000 pounds per year of nitrogen that you're adding to the plant. Let me put that in context. You go to the fertilizer store, you buy a big 40-pound bag of fertilizer that's 20% nitrogen. 40 times 20%, that's 8 pounds of phosphorus in that bag. You're talking 70,000 pounds per year of nitrogen in that bag. You're talking 70,000 pounds of nitrogen per year. That's 9,000 40-pound bags of phosphorus that you're going to be adding to that lake. Do you think that might have some kind of environmental impact? It's not. These are real numbers. And again, there is a limit of technology. The limited technology typically for the sewage treatment plant, and also noted in their design document, is about 3. So maybe now it's only 2,500, 3,000 pound bags of phosphorus per year that you're adding to that lake. That's an awful lot. So there's a number of other pollutants that you would expect from sewage treatment plant effluent, including pharmaceuticals, trace amounts of pharmaceuticals, estrogenic compounds or gender benders, perfluorinated compounds that aren't easily removed, microplastics. With Ellen, you've done a lot to reduce plastics with the plastic ordinance. There's a lot of things, many things and many more that we don't know, but let's skip right to the biggie, okay? When you're talking about sewage, usually the first things to come to mind are fecal coliforms, right? This is pretty dirty and nothing that you want to be touching. The sewage treatment plants do a pretty decent job of removing that. The federal Environmental Protection would like you to get down to 126 colony-forming units per 100 ml. In a recreational water, although the states have some flexibility as to how they want to interpret that and other classes of water. For instance, the design document for the Aqua Nareda facility at Wolcott, in the summer months, instead of 126, they're a little over 400 in their design document. In the winter time, almost 4,000. But not boring you with numbers, I think they could do better, by the way, if they went more than just the ultraviolet light stabilization. I think they could do better. But just cut to the point here. We're talking about fecal coliforms. We're going to have it in the sewage effluent from that plant, no matter what. That's a recreational facility that's used by a lot of people. And during the summer months, nearly 100% of the flow going into that lake is going to be effluent from this treatment plant, and a lot of that will go down the spillway on the back end and down in the Chamonix Creek not much further. So just think of the aesthetics here. Would you like to be paddleboarding or kayaking in sewage treatment plant effluent? Come on, you don't want that for our community. And so, this is my plea to you. I understand that potentially there might be some savings in terms of the sewer bill. There might also be, a significant increase depending on whose numbers you believe. But the one thing you can count on is that our environment and our cherished resources and quality of life will take a big hit if this sewage treatment plant is ever built. So I thank you very much for your time. I hope I've tried to be as concise as possible, and I thank you all very sincerely for all you do for this community. Thank you.